Sonic the Blue Baller.
Hey!
Many things confuse me about him.
Huh? True. I still question how I'm legally naked.
How is this guy even a hedgehog? Well, I'll tell you what, this guy ain't no hedgehog. He's an alien. But I love Ben 10, so he's dope. What's not dope is Sonic's dumb lore. The Sonic timeline in recent years is pretty consistent now that Sega has hired a lore manager. Jesus Christ, someone should have been in charge of that long ago. But, you know, better late than never, as they say. And sooner better than later is what I say. Recently, Sega has released an official Sonic timeline, outlining all the events of the mainline games and some of the spin-offs. I thought it'd be a good idea to look over some of the timeline to look at all the wacky nonsense it beholds. No intro today. I don't feel like it. At the start of the timeline is not the classic era. The timeline dates back a bajillion years ago to Light Gaia and Dark Gaia having a fistfight that doesn't end. Darky rips the Earth apart and Chip puts it back together. Here's something I didn't know. The Ancients were the ones to build the Master Emerald Shrine. I always thought it was the Echidna tribe who built it, seeing as Knuckles protects it from all evil. The Ancients that were there also turned into the Chows, which is interesting. I don't think I ever questioned the existence of the Chows, thinking they were a natural part of Sonic's world. I mean, come on, the franchise is about talking multicolored rodents. Anything is natural here. More insight about Dark Gaia's history, when it was recorded, and the Arc of the Cosmos. We have got a lot of backstory behind the Ancients. Perhaps we could get more insight into how the Babylon Rogue's ancestors operated, seeing as they are also from space. Keep in mind that I haven't played Sonic Battle, but I have a rough outline of what the story with Emerald is. The Gizoids going haywire in the Arc is a retcon, but it gives Emerald way more use in the lore. You can even see him causing havoc in Dark Beginnings, which is cool to see. And I don't mind them retconning it into the story, because we got this sick as hell fight scene. And with no smooth segue whatsoever, this is the part of the video where I tell you to subscribe, because I make a bunch of videos. I'll be happy as a bear with honey if you do. Then Sonic 06 happens, or part of it at least. Elise blows out Solaris' flame and the events of 06 never happened. Good. That still doesn't really answer how the levels from 06 appear later in other games like Generations. My theory, yeah, mine, is that the Time Eater's presence brought back places from erased timelines. Only as long as the Time Eater's still alive, so that's why we don't see them afterwards. Sonic 1, CD, 2, 3 and Knuckles are all what you expect. Eggman appears, Sonic knocks his block off until Mania happens and the Phantom Ruby does all its funky junk. See, it was a bit after Forces that people had this theory that there were two timelines. One where Sonic grows up into his modern counterpart, and the other where Encore mode takes place. This has been disproven with this new timeline. Sonic goes into the future, forces his way out of there so it shows even he didn't like Forces. Sonic goes back into the past and meets up with Mighty and Ray. Good thing too. We hadn't seen Mighty and Ray officially since Sonic Generations missing posters. Tough day, eh mates? Superstars. A disappointment to many and no, that's quite accurate. I'll leave it at that. I'm glad that more classic characters are getting the spotlight. Fang in the game is a good side antagonist, and I'd say he's a more than welcome addition back into the games. There's Emerald powers too that just so happen to activate on the North Star Islands. Sonic and his friends use the Chaos Emerald's new power. Emerald power. What, did you just give up when deciding the name? Now for the part that took me by surprise, the biggest shocker of all the cockers. Sonic 4 is canon? Sonic 4 is worthless deadweight the game. It can be placed anywhere in the timeline, but putting it before Adventure where Sonic looks more like his younger self compared to how we see him nowadays makes it seem like Sonic had a growth spurt in between games with no transition. I don't know why Sonic 4 was included here at all. There's no substance to speak of. Another one that caught people off was Sonic Shuffle being canon too? I kinda get Sonic 4 cause it controls like a Sonic game at least. The party game though? The party game which story mode is 8 hours long? What even is Shuffle, bro? Why is there a story mode that takes 8 hours to beat? Why is easy mode the hardest difficulty? That's me purely judging it off of Sonic Generations in 8 minutes by Roger Van de Weed. Hope I said that correctly, because no, I don't want to play Shuffle, and to whoever wants to play it, what are you? What are you doing here? Sonic Adventure Time 2! We all know that goody grapefruit of a game. I still hate the Knuckles stages! Now for Advance 2, where Cream made her appearance. Kinda strange they waited until Advance 2 to introduce her and not Advance 1. With Cream being in Heroes as her first appearance in a mainline game, it was probably done so people know who she is before the game came out. The point where we actually get to 06 in the timeline explains the general gist. But this, no. Actually, all the parts where 06 appear in here don't mention why Blaze is in the future despite being in Rush. And yes, 06 takes place after Rush, it's right here. I do not know if the comics explain it, but if they do, I will scream, "You can't keep getting away with it!"
man!
About the comics, specifically IDW, they are nowhere to be found here. Maybe they didn't want to include stuff outside the games, which is fair. If they put Sonic 4 on this timeline though, you can surely put the IDW comics in here or mention bits of it considering they are canon to the games. I'll say this about Rush Adventure. People have a problem with Marine saying she's annoying and I'm like, no, she's like Australian Cream that willingly throws hands with people. Marine's alright. Fun design, her hair is in the shape of a boomerang, she part of the gang. Riders Zero Gravity. How was Babylon Garden a spaceship? This is the weirdest looking ship I've ever seen. How do you drive this thing? How would you drive this thing? Small side tangent, but the Zero Gravity gimmick in Zero Gravity is extremely cool, and I think it would be neat if they revisited it for a mainline or spin-off game. It has potential to make movement really snappy. I see the colors! Here we enter the era of bad writing, where words go to die. Tails has been hit over the head with a stick. If something is built by Eggman, it is probably not good. I don't know how you don't get this. These clowns really hired people who didn't know anything about the series. Accompanying Sonic is the Wisps. I hate how these guys appear in almost every game afterwards, even when they don't need to. They're good in colors, fine in Lost World, and unnecessary everywhere else. It's been generations since I've talked about Generations. It actually hasn't, it's been about 3 months. You should totally check out that video, by the way. Or if you've already watched a million videos about Shadow Generations, then I don't know. Still don't see how Eggman found the Time Eater. Guess it was conveniently flying in the middle of space? They could have added more backstory to that. You know what? The Time Eater is really the only godlike being Eggman has summoned that has gotten no explanation behind it. You'll notice that some of the games in the timeline are switched around for whatever reason. Free Riders comes after Generations instead of being before it, and Team Sonic Racing is before Forces? What's the point of swapping the order of the games? The events of these games don't have any effect on the games following it, so I deem it unnecessary to do this in the first place. Chronic forces and the oversaturation of nostalgia. This game is insulting. We have every character here. Why can't we play as any of them aside from Sonic, and Sonic with a gun? Another thing I've noticed myself is that a few games are missing in the timeline. The Storybook games, Rivals, Sonic X for the Leapster, they are all absent. I see why they wouldn't include the Storybook games, as even though they are canon, they don't contribute to other stories. Rivals reintroduces Silver because since 06 reset itself at the end of the game, Silver and Sonic don't know each other, and it's important that they do for all of Silver's appearances later on. They include the 6-minute Frontiers prologue, for God's sake. Some consistency would be Oh, I forgot. Wait. The Frontiers prologue is an animated short. It's not a game. Then if Sonic Prime is said to be canon, which it really shouldn't, where does that place it in the timeline? Probably between Generations and Lost World? I don't know, man. This is all giving me a big migraine. Fortunately, that's all the oddities that I could find in the timeline, so thank you, viewer, for watching to the end of the video. Usually people don't watch until the end, but you did. There has to be a medal in my drawer somewhere. I can't find one. I'd give it to you, though. Right, later, dudes. I'll see you in next video. If you watch my next video, that is.